We mean you no harm, right?
So, have you ever watched a show where the very first episode grabs you by the throat and doesn't let go? That's exactly what Chief of War does. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. In just 2 episodes, we're thrown into a world of ancient Hawaiian warriors, brutal betrayals, lost honor, and a prophecy that could change everything. We meet Kaiana, a warrior who's starting to question everything he's fought for, and Kahumanu, a woman who's quietly becoming one of the most powerful voices in the kingdom. If you've been wondering what this show is really about, or if you just need a quick catch-up before the next episode drops, you're in the right place. Let's break down everything that went down in episodes 1 and 2, because trust me, this story's just getting started. Episode 1. First up, yes, Jason Momoa is basically everywhere in this episode. Like, everywhere. It's like every single thread of Hawaiian culture and storytelling goes through him, which sure, he's a magnetic presence, but maybe a little too magnetic. It almost feels like the rest of the world is revolving around him, which kinda takes away from the natural richness the show is trying to honor. That said, the show does seem to have its heart in the right place. At the center of all of this, Kaiana, a real-life Hawaiian warrior from the late 1700s who isn't just some mythical hero created for the series. Nope, he was very much real, and the show makes it clear that he's the man history remembers when it comes to big political and spiritual shifts in the islands. But here's the big question. Why did Kaiana leave Maui? That's the mystery hanging in the air from the very beginning. We're introduced to a version of him that's turned his back on war. No more battles, no more serving the king of Maui. Instead, Kaiana's living the quiet life on the shores of Kauai with his wife, his brothers, and their families. He's catching sharks for food, whispering prayers to them before the kill, like total spiritual depth. But don't let that calm fool you. Kaiana still carries the signs of his past. He's got the regal cape, the chief's headgear, the warrior energy. He just doesn't want to wear it anymore. And when you find out he walked away from a life of privilege, from being the chief of war's son, you know something serious went down. Then comes the request from King Kahekili. And I say request very loosely, because what really shows up in Kauai is more like threat. The king's men don't exactly roll in with kindness. They come armed and ready to bend Kaiana's will. And instantly, we see the power imbalance. Kauai's nobles shrink in their presence. Maui's dominance is real and brutal. So what made Kaiana leave in the first place? It's all about the blood. Kaiana wasn't just a warrior, he was a weapon for the king. He killed in the name of power, and that took a toll on him. His dream? A Hawaii where the islands aren't always tearing each other apart. But at some point, he realized the cost of chasing that dream through violence wasn't worth it. So he left. And now he's being pulled right back in. And here's where things get real interesting. Kahekili isn't just any king. He's someone who thrives on control, fear, and manipulation. And when he realizes that Kaiana isn't easily persuaded anymore, he switches tactics. He starts talking prophecy. According to legend, a burning star and a feathered cape signal the arrival of a king who unite all 4 islands. Kaiana has been waiting for that king his whole life, and now Kahekili claims he's the one. Suspicious much? Let's just say, the vibes are off. Kahekili says Oahu is planning an attack, but Oahu's young king, Hahana, is peaceful, and there's no real reason for hostility. So what gives? Well, Kaiana's not stupid. He's got doubts. He knows Kahekili's thirst for power. He's seen what that man is capable of. But here's where things start getting cloudy. Prophecies have a way of clouding judgment. Add in the emotional manipulation. Kahekili literally brings up Kaiana's late father, and suddenly, Kaiana's on the fence. He wants to believe. He needs to believe that this war might actually bring peace, that maybe Kahekili is the chosen one. So, Kaiana makes a plan. A tactical, low-bloodshed invasion of Oahu. Just capture the high priest, keep the young king safe, and force a surrender. Sounds smart, right? Feels like a middle path between war and peace. But we should have known. Kahekili doesn't do low bloodshed. The moment the opportunity arrives, he reveals his true nature. Vicious, power-hungry, merciless. And this is where Kaiana's whole belief system starts crumbling. The people they're fighting in Oahu, not soldiers, not enemies, just defenseless farmers. And right when he's knee-deep in blood, Kayana sees a vision. Taula, the white-eyed prophetess with her eyes now black and haunting. It's like his conscience is screaming at him. This isn't the path. This isn't peace. And sure enough, it all comes crashing down. Kahekili never intended to wait on the shores of Waikiki. He charges in, as brutal as ever. And the most horrific moment, when he kills young King Hahana with a weapon Kayana himself made as a gift. The betrayal is beyond devastating. Kahekili doesn't stop there. He stains sacred land, the temple of refuge, with innocent blood. He doesn't want peace. He wants domination. And the worst part? Kayana helped him do it. That's the tragedy of episode 1. Kayana put his hope in a false king. He believed in a lie, and now he's complicit in a massacre. His tears at the end aren't just for the lives lost, they're for his own soul, for everything he tried to run from, only to end up right back in the same blood-soaked spiral. So now what? We're left with Kayana at a crossroads. He knows now. Kahekili is not the prophesied king. The prophecy is real, yes. That burning star Kayana saw as a child, that was no illusion. But the real king, the one who unify the islands and end this brutality, he hasn't arrived yet. History tells us who that king is. King Kamehameha, the true unifier of Hawaii. He's bound to appear in the story soon, and when he does, Kayana might just get a second chance to fight for the right cause. Until then, Kayana's stuck in a mess of blood, betrayal, and broken dreams. And with people like Kupule lurking around with their suspicious smiles, Kayana better watch his back, because the next war might not be on the battlefield, it might be right at court. Episode 2. Let's talk about her first. Ka'ahumanu. Now this girl, she's special. You can feel it the moment she shows up. There's this fire in her that's impossible to ignore. She's not just fascinated by stars, she's obsessed with Kapuahi, the great red star that her ancestors used to navigate. And that might sound like just some poetic detail, but in ancient Hawaii, women weren't even allowed to study the stars. So what Ka'ahumanu is doing? It's full-on rebellion. Her uncle is low-key breaking Kapula just by teaching her, but she's soaking up every word, especially the myth about the Red Star, a warrior who travels to the heavens for love and brings back life. That myth, it's more than just bedtime stories. It's her dream, a world beyond the one she's confined to. But the real world comes knocking fast. Her father, Moku, rushes in with bad news. Kahekili's bloody invasion of Oahu has everyone on edge, and now Hawaii's caught in the middle. Ka'ahumanu, born to a Maui mother and a Hawaiian father, is suddenly unwanted by both sides. Her very existence is political tension wrapped in royal lineage. So what does her dad do? Classic patriarchal move. He tries to marry her off to a Hawaiian chief just to secure peace and protect her. She hates it, but what choice does she have? Well, she calls on Taula, the prophetess. And if you thought Ka'ahumanu was just another royal daughter, Taula shuts that down real quick. She says Ka'ahumanu isn't meant for marriage. She's not meant to be someone's wife. She's meant to break the world in the best way possible. Now, if you know your history, you already recognize the path. Ka'ahumanu will eventually become Kuhina Nui, co-ruler alongside King Kamehameha, defying gender norms, reshaping the kingdom, and challenging every law that tried to silence women. So yeah, Taula's prophecy? Absolutely on point. But wait, while Ka'ahumanu is realizing her purpose, Kayana is dealing with the aftermath of his greatest mistake. He backed the wrong king. He wanted peace, but instead he walked into a massacre. Now, he's done. Done with Kahekili's lies. Done killing for someone who only understands domination. And how does he say it? He breaks his father's war club, the one Kahekili tried to use as emotional leverage, and leaves it behind. That's the Hawaiian equivalent of a mic drop. But Kahekili, oh, he doesn't take rejection well. See, now that he's tasted blood and glory, Kahekili doesn't think he needs Kayana anymore. So what does he want instead? His mana. In Hawaiian culture, that's the spiritual power stored in one's bones. Basically, Kahekili doesn't want Kayana alive. He wants him dead, and he wants to own his spirit. Problem is, Kayana's already on the run with his family. But there's a complication. Heki, his sister-in-law, isn't there when they arrive in Maui. She's out performing moon rituals, and leaving her behind, not an option. So Kaiana and his brothers go looking, and that delay gives Kahekili's men the chance to catch up. When things go south, Kupoi, Kaiana's wife, makes the smart call. She convinces everyone to surrender and live to fight another day. And let me just say, Kupoi is quietly fierce. She's emotional, spiritual, and calm under pressure. Even when Nahi starts grumbling like a loose cannon, she knows exactly how to keep him in line, sometimes with words, sometimes with a blade to his throat. But here's the twist. While Kaiana flees the ambush, he stumbles into a cave, and guess who's there? Kahumanu. Fate, right? She nurses him back to health, and in those quiet moments, something powerful starts building. These two, they're alike. Exiles in their own land, born of nobility, but unwanted by the kings they once served. And together, they start forming a plan. Kahumanu wants to get to Hawai'i. She knows her time is coming. Kaiana wants to find his family, so they're gonna ride together, literally. But before they can even get moving, they run into Europeans. Yeah, the pale-skinned foreigners are back. Kaiana brushes them off as weak and forgettable, but Kahumanu's smarter than that. She sees the danger. She knows the weapons they carry and the mindset they bring. And right on cue, one of the Europeans gets twitchy, panics, and fires. Bad shot. Kaiana? Not so much. But just as things settle, who shows up? Kupuohi, Kahekili's son, loyal to a fault, cold, dead-eyed. And he's not here for negotiation. Kaiana knows what's coming. He turns to Kahumanu, tells her to take his family to Hawai'i, and then runs straight into the fire alone. Again. Meanwhile, Kupuohi and the rest are trying to get out. And once Kahumanu catches up with them, they trust her instantly. That's her power. Even strangers can feel the truth in her. And when they find themselves face to face with a stray European sailor left behind by his crew, Kahumanu does something no one expects. She spares him. This is who she is. She's not just going to be powerful. She's going to be just, merciful, wise. And that's exactly what Hawaii's going to need. So where does this all end? Back at the edge of a cliff, Kaiana, outnumbered and wounded, finds himself cornered. No escape, no reinforcements, just death waiting in every direction, unless he jumps. And jump he does. But here's the kicker. He survives. Turns out, the same European ship crew that he encountered earlier, they rescue him, which is poetic, honestly. The man who rejected violence, who tried to escape war, who wanted to unify rather than destroy, he's now on a ship headed for unknown lands. Just like the real Kaiana from history, one of the first native Hawaiians to sail to foreign countries and see the world beyond the Pacific. This is his turning point. He's going to learn things no Hawaiian has ever known. He's going to come back different, stronger, wiser. And when he does, the prophecy that's been haunting every shoreline will finally start to make sense. Kahekili thinks he's the chosen one, but his rule is built on fear. Kaahumanu is ready to rewrite the rules of power itself. And Kaiana, he's not done yet. Nerdy thoughts. And that's a wrap on episodes 1 and 2 of Chief of War. We've seen Kaiana lose everything, Kahumanu find her purpose, and a prophecy start to unfold right before our eyes. If this is just the beginning, you know things are about to get even more intense. What did you think of the first 2 episodes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your theories. And hey, if you're enjoying these recaps, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.